Within all the opulent glamour of the Las Vegas Grand Prix circuit, the street circuit down the strip, Formula One cars on their Thursday night, a cold Thursday night, I thought looked pretty inelegant, partly because street circuits obviously take a long time to rubber in, to get some sort of groove, but also because on this sort of circuit, they just look a little bit ungainly when they're sliding all over the place. Anyway, that's what happened on Thursday. No grip whatsoever. It was all about getting tyre temperature. And no real surprise, as kind of predicted in the live stream, to see Mercedes going very well there. It was a scratchy session, and the Mercedes is a bit of an edgy car, and they were getting decent tyre temperatures too, no doubt about that. But I think the ominous sign for Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull is that McLaren, not quite as effective as Mercedes when the track had zero grip in getting the tyres to work. Nonetheless, when the track did start to pick up a bit of grip in the second session, when they went out on fuel and on soft tyres, McLaren looked very, very strong. Lando Norris, again, absolutely fabulous around the street circuit. But let's not detract from the day of glory for Mercedes, because Lewis Hamilton, after a very disappointing for him Brazilian Grand Prix, where the car just got totally away from him in terms of what it was doing mid-corner, the back end was all over the place, he couldn't get the front to turn in either. George Russell in the other car doing a very nice job. Lewis bounced back in Vegas, really, really good, with no tyre temperatures, throwing the car around a little bit, getting the tyres to work, and very, very good on both the medium tyre, which of course they used while the track was rubbering in the soft tyre at the end of FP1, and then also in FP2 when he was quick on the soft tyre on light fuel, and was the only runner to stay on the soft with fuel in the car as well, and got a pretty good run out of them. A nice choice there, I think, by Mercedes to go for the soft on Lewis and the medium on George with fuel in the car, because the track is picking up grip. Things are changing all the time. You want to get as much data as you can to see how the soft is going to settle in to fuel loads and race conditions. So some good work there by Mercedes today. All round, the team looked very good. No organisational dramas on this occasion. And Lewis doing a lot for his own self-confidence as well, looking really good in the car. But it was Lando Norris right there doing a time too, almost unexpectedly, given that McLaren were a little bit low-key on the medium tyre, but on the soft tyre, really, really good by Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri, again, not quite as effective as Lando, and there was one moment when Oscar caught the wall on entry, on a very wide entry to a chicane, left-right chicane, which is unusual for Oscar because he does turn in a little bit earlier than Lando, but a bit of a messy mistake from Oscar Piastri there on the soft tyre, but he looked very good on the fuel runs. We'll get onto that in a minute. So Lewis Hamilton quickest, Lando Norris second, George Russell very good in the other car, 34.0, did a really good run on the medium tyre with full tanks. And then the Ferraris, which were bound to go well around Vegas, it is their sort of circuit. Again, lots of lock-ups, lots of straight on at turn 14 at the end of the long straight. They seem to take forever in the braking area to get into 14. Virtually everybody had some sort of lock-up or moment. There's lots of room there. You can do your donut, get back into the rhythm without too much drama, but particularly in FP1, but also in FP2, lots and lots of lockups and dramas there, and particularly with both Ferraris. But Carlos Sainz, in the end, slightly fewer mistakes than Charles Leclerc. Doesn't mean a lot on a Friday. Charles does make a lot of mistakes on Fridays typically. But Carlos Sainz looking good in the Ferrari as well, just a little bit quicker than Charles Leclerc. And Pierre Gasly, who's been looking very good recently, super quick in the Alpine, relatively speaking, super quick, very quick in the straight line. We'll get onto that in a minute as well. Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg in the two Haas Ferraris looking good. But look where Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez are. Given that most of the other drivers are bracketed together in terms of their car performance, you got to say what a dreadful day for Red Bull. Having said that, Max didn't get in a proper lap on the soft tyre. The red came out when Alex Albon stopped with a fuel pressure problem in the Williams, just as Max was on his quickest lap. So don't read too much into that in terms of where he is right there in the listing. And obviously things are going to change for tomorrow. But generally speaking, Red Bull having a lot of trouble getting temperature into the tyres, getting the tyres into the window to get them operating. When they got some weight in the car, they put fuel in the car on the medium tyre, they were a lot more competitive. So let's have a look at those long runs then, of which I speak. Lewis Hamilton there again on the soft tyre. Was a sensible run on the soft tyre as well. 38.6, not anything ridiculous. 38.6 again, repeating that, 38.9. And in terms of the Pirellis being obviously prone to deg in these cold conditions, that wasn't a bad run at all by Lewis on the soft tyre. Not as quick as it happened as George on the medium tyre, 38.1. Very good run by George. did the most laps as well. As I said earlier, really good run, 38.9, 38.5, 38.1, 39.0. Look at that, 39.3, 38.8. Very good run. Lando Norris, only one quick lap, 38.8, 38.2, and then in traffic a lot, but obviously there or thereabouts. Oscar Piastri making up for that with a very good heavy fuel run, as I say, for McLaren, 37.3, which is actually the quickest of all the fuel run laps we saw today. Very good lap. But then 37.3 and then 38.2. Everything else in the 38.2. So a little bit of an abnormal lap by Oscar. Obviously, I presume they just said to him, push, 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 see what we can get out of this tyre. And then he had reasonable consistency, 38.2, 38.3, 38.6, 30, 39.4. So McLaren looking very good in terms of the red tyre, soft tyre lap, fast laps, and also with fuel in the car. Ferrari, as I say, gathering pace as the session wore on. Neither driver getting perfect laps in terms of traffic or indeed not having lockups. But Carlos Sainz, not bad at all, 38.8, 38.3, 38.7, 37.8. That's better than Max Verstappen, got to say. So Ferrari at the moment, as I say, doing a better job than Red Bull. No real surprise there. We did expect Ferrari to be going well. 38.3, Charles Leclerc, 37.9, not quite as quick as Carlos. Then in traffic, finished with a 38.6. So there or thereabouts. And then finally, Max Verstappen, 38.1, which puts him in the ballpark, sort of Lando Norris area. 38.3 for Sergio Perez. So yeah, not bad at all for both Red Bulls, picking up grip and balance as they get weight in the car with fuel, and that will change, as I think, as I said, tomorrow, in terms of the track becoming far less green. And then finally, let's just have a look at the speed trap. Look at Pierre Gasly. I mean, that was probably a mega toe, but you'd say that. But then again, Esteban Ocon, 347. So the Alpine's set up with very little wing and carrying that with grip. So very impressive to see that for Alpine. McLaren, for a change, surprisingly quick in a straight line, 344. I mean, this is more the ballpark speed, isn't it, the front runners. So you could say quickest of the front runners, 344, 344 for both McLarens. Normally you'd see them a bit slower than Mercedes or Ferrari, but there they are, right in the ballpark, or the Hard Rock Stadium, whichever way you want to look at it. Max Verstappen 344 as well. That augurs reasonably well for him tomorrow, because it means he's not running that much wing on a day when they had zero grip. So they didn't fall back into the trap of putting too much wing on the car, and that should be a reasonable setup for them tomorrow. And the same goes for Sergio Perez. Aston Martin's not slow in a straight line either, and Mercedes, surprisingly so. So another point about Mercedes and why they were one of the reasons they were quick today when the track was green, running for them quite a lot of downforce. That'll presumably come out of the car, but then that may well change the balance going tomorrow. We've often seen Mercedes go quite well on a Friday and then kind of lose it going into the weekend. That could be a pointer to where they're going. I would imagine they're going to have to take downforce out of the car, and as I say, that will have an impact on balance. 340 for Lewis Hamilton and George Russell 339. And the other significant top speed there through the trap, Ferrari 338, even slower than Mercedes. Carlos Sainz only 336. So they're going to need to take wing out of the car as well. But I suspect that Ferrari, as ever, will have a slightly bigger operating sweet spot for their car as they do change the balance and as the track does pick up grip. Quite a lot of upgrades on the cars in Vegas, as you would expect after the break we've had since Brazil. This is the start of the final triple header of 2024, of course. Many of those changes to do with the lower downforce settings in Vegas, front wing, etc. like that, adjusting to what they might be doing with the rear. But also at Red Bull, we've got some new floor fences on the car, which Red Bull describe as by elevating the upper edge of the second inside to out forward floor fence, a small vortex can be shed to benefit the floor edge downstream. So I'm not sure Max Verstappen was feeling much benefit of that today with zero grip from the tyres, and I'm not sure that new floor fence had any impact on that. But nonetheless, that is what Red Bull have been doing. At Mercedes, they've just trimmed the trailing edge flap of the front wing, which is just to balance the car in terms of the downforce setting they're running in Vegas. But at Ferrari, quite a lot of changes. Similar front wing adjustments for Vegas specifically, but significant performance changes to the floor fences, the floor body, and the floor edge, which Ferrari describe as not event specific. This update features reworked front floor fences targeting an improvement of the losses travelling downstream. The front floor body volume has subsequently re-optimised together with the floor edge loading and vortex shedding into the diffuser. So sounds impressive. Let's see. Again, I don't think they could have got too much information from the condition of the track today, but as the track does pick up grip, let's see how Ferrari go tomorrow. Sounds good. Good result from the wind tunnel. Let's see if it actually happens in real life. Whereas at McLaren, just a new front wing flap, which is circuit specific to the downforce level in Vegas. So they are the major changes to the cars in Vegas. As I say, Friday, not a brilliant day in terms of how the Formula One cars looked, but there's no doubt at all that the Vegas circuit overall doesn't massively penalise cars with relatively small faults. And it is going to be a very competitive grid, certainly at the front, and also, of course, in the midfield. It's that sort of circuit. There's a lot of time on full throttle. Everybody's going to find the right sort of compromise between top speed and their own grip level and balance. And that's what will be reflected, I think, in qualifying. In the meantime, on tenterhooks in Japan, Terry Nerville has had a massive engine problem in the Hyundai. Very, very bad luck for him. He was super quick in the first couple of stages. This is obviously the championship defining final round of the World Rally Championship. And his car just lost power. And because there was no service halt, they're not allowed to do any service on the cars. He had to do like 5 stages with effectively road power on the car and just dropped right out of contention in terms of the results going through to Saturday night. It's not all lost, of course, because the World Rally Championship, unlike Formula One, does allow you to regroup on the Sunday, and there's a different point scoring system on the Sunday. It's not all over though, but amazing after a season like that to just lose power after 3 stages in the Hyundai. And in the other car, his main rival, obviously Ott Tanak, for the Drivers' Championship, having a trouble-free run right at the front of the field. So interesting to see how Terry recovers from that one. Anyway, that's rallying, and I'm sure in this picture that's exactly what Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are talking about as we speak. Anyway, a big thanks to Jetcraft, to OEM Exclusive, and of course to TrackNinja. Thanks to you two for watching. See you tomorrow.